So you're thinking about buying a home in Plano, Texas, or maybe the broader North Dallas area, and you've been watching the market, and now things are looking different. What's going on? Is it time to panic? Well, there's a lot going on, and for sure our real estate market is shifting. That's the topic of today's video. I want to dig into all these trends, tell you what it means to you. Before we jump right in, make sure to hit that red subscribe button so you can stay tuned in on the latest trends in North Texas real estate. It's Matt here. I'm a real estate agent in Plano, Texas, and you're probably starting to see headlines about the real estate market, and plenty of people online are giving that gloom and doom story of the market is crashing, the sky is falling. I imagine I'd probably get a lot more clicks, likes, and comments if I told you the same thing, but I'd probably be a little dishonest too. When we look here locally in Plano and in North Dallas, North Texas, yes, the market is shifting, and there are a lot of things that are happening all at once that make it confusing to make sense of. Here's just a couple of things that I want to talk about today. The first is inventory. There are more homes for sale now than earlier in the year. Secondly, we have rising interest rates. That's affecting buyer affordability and psychology. We also have a general sense of fear and anxiety in our culture, and of course that's getting carried over into real estate. And lastly, we have inflation. We have a lot of monetary inflation. We have all of these things happening at once. And then add to that some really powerful longer-term macro trends that are happening, and it makes for a really interesting mix. And that's what we're gonna continue to dig into in this video. So the first thing I wanna talk about is inventory. That has been a story we've been talking about for the last couple of years now. We've been in a low, maybe low inventory market, really for all of the pandemic. And so we're starting to see more homes come on the market. Sellers have suddenly decided now's the right time to list their home. Really, the right time was probably February, March, April, when it was peak insanity, peak demand. But that's okay. Homes are coming on the market. And now people are thinking, oh my God, all of these homes are on the market. Well, it's a lot more. Take Plano, for example. We started the year with 59 homes for sale on January 1st. Now, here we are mid-July, we got 260, 265 homes for sale. So that's 4 times as many homes for sale, but let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to July 2019. When we started that month, there were 781 homes for sale. So we still have 3 times as many homes to get back to a pre-pandemic level of inventory. And in many ways, what's happening right now with inventory is people are feeling we're back to normal with the way we operate around life, and sellers are deciding now's the right time to bring their home to market. I would tell you, we're probably just moving our way back to pre-pandemic levels of home supply. So that's the inventory situation. We have more inventory coming on the market. I would say if you're a buyer, that's really good news. If you're a seller, it's probably just neutral news. Let's talk about buyers. I think a lot of buyers have suddenly realized it costs a lot more to buy a home now than it did in the beginning of the year. Yes, prices are up. In fact, prices are up in Plano, almost $100,000 sales price. But that's not what I'm talking about for price. I'm talking about monthly mortgage costs. The interest rates have been rising steadily throughout the year. It really feels like they've jumped the last 90 days. We started the year with relatively low rates in the 3s, let's say 3.5, and now here we are in July, we're at 5.5, and rates are probably still climbing this year. If a buyer was starting the year with the mindset, I got $100,000 cash I'm gonna put down as my down payment, I'm gonna buy a $500,000 house, put that 20% down, and that means I have a $400,000 mortgage. Well, look at this chart. At 3.5%, that meant your monthly payment for principal and interest was around $1,800. Now, fast forward to where we are today, your monthly payment's probably around $2,300. And that's, almost a $500 increase in your monthly cost for the same mortgage. Another way to think about that would be if my budget was $1,800 a month for my mortgage payment, that means now the $1,800 a month at 5.5% interest really only gets me a $420,000 home. So you've seen home prices go up and you've seen your affordability go down. And for a lot of buyers, that's a tough pill to swallow. And I think buyers are really just in this moment trying to make sense of that. Now, some people are also being really optimistic, thinking, I can't wait for rates to get back to normal. I hate to break it to you, but we're kind of at normal. If you look at this historical chart, rates have really traditionally been more 5, 6, 7. And I think that 3, 2, 3 range that we saw was really a pandemic incentive to go out and buy, borrow, and spur the economy. We might not get back to that level. I mean, it's just probably not a reality of the near future. Buyers tend to be hesitant. I'm sure sellers have some anxiety too as they watch these changes, the culture is full, the world is full of anxiety and fear about what's gonna happen. And for people looking to transact right now, some of them are thinking, is this 2008 all over again? Am I buying at the top and this is just gonna rocket down? I don't think we're there. I don't think we're in crash zones. If you believe that we're in a recession or going into recession, let's look back at this chart. In the majority of recessions, home prices actually went up. Sure, they went down a lot in 2008. That was really a housing crisis, which spurred a recession. And you can buy and sell a stock in 30 seconds. In a quick pace in real estate, you can buy and sell a house in 30 days. So it moves much slower. In fact, some people really get frustrated at the snail's pace with which real estate moves. And that means the trends happen a lot more slowly too. I often talk about the market update every month and you see prices bounce around. But when you're in a small market like Plano or even Collin County is a relatively small market and you see prices bounce around, you sometimes lose sense of the big picture that the overall trend is up. And I think that's what we're gonna see here. I commented on fluctuating real estate prices. I don't think the trend is down like this. I do think we've gone up a lot, we've gone up really fast, and now I think we're gonna see stabilize. It may look like it's fluctuating a lot over the months ahead, but let's zoom out on the big picture. When we look back a decade, the trend is up. And like so many things, real estate is a long-term decision and it's a long-term investment. I think you'll benefit from some powerful trends I'm gonna talk to you about in a moment. But first, I wanna hear where you think real estate prices are headed. Leave a comment below. Let's start a dialogue around that. So we've talked about increasing inventory. We've talked about rates going up. And with that, some fear and anxiety. And another big piece of the equation here is inflation. Prices are going up everywhere. If we back up a little bit, prices are going up because we keep inflating the monetary supply. We're just printing tons and tons and tons of cash, and that has to go somewhere. And when we look at assets like real estate, we really can't make any more of them. Look at a place like Plano. It's basically built out. It's a prime location. And so people are gonna bid that up. There's a scarcity there. Certainly hope some of the other supply chain issues do get sorted out, and maybe that'll result in price stabilization. But again, real estate is a hard asset. It's a tangible asset. And for investors in the marketplace who have cash and are looking for a place to put it, they don't like all the volatility, real estate really makes sense for them. It's probably gonna continue rising, most likely, as I mentioned, moving forward at a slower pace, but it'll be a great place for them to put cash. And oh, by the way, if you're a cash buyer, you don't care about interest rates. So all of these things are mixed together in the real estate equation right now, and I think that's what's leading to a really different feel in the marketplace. So those are a bunch of current trends that are happening, but there's some really powerful long-term macro trends that are affecting and will continue to affect real estate. The first of them are millennials. Millennials are a huge population group. They are now prime home buying age. Something like 11,000 millennials a day turn 40. They're ready to buy a house. There's a massive generational demand for homes, except their baby boomer parents are really not moving out of their houses. And now let's combine that with the second really powerful macro trend, which is we've been underbuilding. We have not been building enough homes to keep up with the population growth. So there's a structural issue of underbuilding the amount of homes. And then lastly, more local, let's think about the mass migration to Texas. There's a lot of people coming to Texas. There are companies coming to Texas. That will continue for quite some time. And when we think about places where these people are coming from, they're often coming from high-cost housing markets. Places where the median home price may be $750,000, $800,000, and they find that here the median home price gets them a better home, and they're very comfortable paying $500,000, $600,000 for the kind of typical Plano home or North Texas home. Well, that money will probably continue moving into Texas. And so these trends are not going to turn off overnight, and they will likely continue, and they will definitely affect real estate. The fact of the matter is there's a lot going on right now. We've talked about trends like increasing home inventory. Sellers are much more bullish on their pricing, and buyers are throttling back. They're a little bit hesitant. And also there's a massive amount of cash out there looking for places to go, real estate being one great option. And we have powerful macro trends like stacked on top of the real estate. And so it's just a really interesting mix. And that's what I believe we're observing right now. So what is a person to do? The truth of the matter is, if you're a buyer, there's probably never a perfect time to buy. It's really difficult to time any market. Real estate is no exception. You're kind of jumping on to these long-term trends and gonna ride it out. I certainly hope you're not buying a home with the expectation of only living there just a couple months or not even a year. But people are also saying, oh, I just wanna wait. I wanna wait for prices to fall. I wanna wait for interest rates to fall. None of that may happen. And now you could wait 12 months and you could pay your landlord's mortgage. But the truth of the matter is you probably need shelter and you need somewhere to live. And that's what's so fascinating about real estate. Yes, it's an investment for you. It's also your home. And I think that needs to be part of your decision-making process right now. Where do we want to call home? What kind of community do we want to create? Where do we want to raise our children? What kind of environment do we want to have? That's also part of the mix here, way more so than some of these trends. It's what is the life I want to create for myself right now? So please keep that in mind as you're thinking about what do I do in this market. Don't get too analytical about the data. I should take that advice. And think about the life you want to create. Nobody said, I wish I didn't buy that house 5 years ago. If you're a seller, it's still a seller's market. It definitely feels different than when your neighbor might have sold their house in February or March or April, but the scale is still very much tilted in your favor as a seller, just like it was pre-pandemic. And so don't let that scare you. It does mean you're gonna need to prepare your home. You probably don't wanna hire that lazy agent who just puts a sign in the yard. You probably wanna have a smarter strategy than you might have needed to have in February. And I will tell you this, if life is changing, embrace that change. Now may be the right time to sell for you. It's going to be hard to time the perfect timing in real estate. So embrace the change, get excited about that next chapter, and just be okay with the fact that your home might not sell this weekend, but it'll probably sell this month, and you'll probably get about the price you'd like for it. That's good news for you as a seller. As always, thanks for watching. Make sure to stay tuned on our channel, subscribe below, so we can make sure to give you the latest news on North Texas real estate. And we want to hear, where do you think prices are headed? Where do you think this market is going? What are your questions? What are your concerns? Let's start a dialogue. Let us know in the comments below. In the meantime, stay safe and have fun. Thanks for watching today's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe below. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. And in the meantime, make sure to check out some of our other videos featured on our channel.